This is the news on NTA International. I am Lami Ali. Our top stories. Federal government of Nigeria bans international flights to Enugu, Kano and Port Harcourt airports. Governments at all levels collaborate to mitigate impact of coronavirus on the economy with special committees set up. Plus, strategic campaign to improve water sanitation and hygiene in Nigeria gears up as the world marks Water Day. Thank you for joining us. State governors under the auspices of the National Economic Council have set up a special committee to coordinate federal and state governments' responses to deal with the fallout of the coronavirus pandemic. The committee is chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, SAN, with the governors of Jigawa, Edo, Ebonyi, Nasarawa, Kaduna, Kebbi and Ogun states as members. Jide Onifade has the reports.
Well, it is a critical time with the coronavirus having devastating effect on the global economy. And here in Nigeria, the federal government announced a number of measures to reduce this effect. The governors spent over 5 hours looking critically at the socio-economic effects of this pandemic. The Special NEC Committee set up as Vice President Yemi Osinbajo as chairman, with governors of Ebonyi, Edo, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kebbi, Nasarawa and Ogun states as members. Prominent among issues discussed is the fall of oil price, which in no small measure would affect the state's financial earnings and governance at all levels.
The import of coronavirus on the Nigerian economy will affect the oil sector. Both price and production quantity are expected to fall.
Minister of State Petroleum Mele Kyari, Governor of the Central Bank Godwin Emefiele, and Director General Center for Disease Control Chekwe Iekwazu gave strong recommendations to the council.
The Central Bank Governor stated that our first priority is to keep our people as healthy as possible by ensuring that we boost our healthcare facilities.
Also agreed that this was a collective responsibility for all cadres of government. Their Excellencies agreed to fund a series of urgently needed interventions, both some short-term interventions that are required for the immediate response, but some other medium to long-term interventions that are needed to provide for the control of this outbreak and future outbreaks.
We think this is a very, very good opportunity to open the space in the downstream sector, which has been constricted in the last 2 to 3 years. And it's an opportunity for oil mine companies that are going through tremendous pressure these days to now come back to business and do the business of petroleum product import, including PMS.
The excess crude account balance as at today, March 17, 2020, $17,220,756.74.
We take this matter very, very seriously, and going forward, we're going to be getting more announcements.
In the State House, Jide Onifade, NG News.
And amid the stress of coronavirus on the economy, the federal government is collaborating with state governments on ways of harnessing the vast natural resources for economic gains. To actualize this, the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment is meeting in Abuja with states to strategize towards attracting viable investment. Benny Adams has that report.
There is a popular saying that goes, government has no business in business, but to put structures in place for businesses to thrive. With the current realities on ground, from oil prices to inflation rates and the novel coronavirus, experts at this gathering are of the view that the time to work the much talked about diversification is now, starting from reducing losses estimated to run into trillions of naira annually from untapped resources deposited in villages across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. with Plateau State alone having 22 various mineral deposits amid abundant agricultural resources. Olusoga David says Ekiti is doing it differently.
We have created an agri-processing zone.
While Charles Ugele, a business development expert, is of the view that premium should be placed on value addition.
We should have systems in place to process some of those goods so that they become marketable in the international market.
The promise by the federal government is to ensure return on investment for all parties.
Nigeria has to be very deliberate and strategic. Hence, in her investment promotion and facilitation, amongst others.
If the federal government's resolve will translate to action, it is expected that the investment promotion efforts of Ekiti and other states will surely pay off. Benny Adams, NTA News.
And in the meantime, the federal government has added Austria and Sweden to the list of high-risk countries on its travel ban as part of efforts to contain the spread of the coronavirus pandemic, bringing the number of such countries to 15. Minister of Health, Dr. Osagi Hanuri, who announced this in Abuja while updating the media on the coronavirus pandemic, also confirmed a total of 12 cases in Lagos, Ogun, and Ekiti State. Health correspondent Rabi Abdullah has the report.
Coronavirus pandemic has spread to all the continents of the world except the Antarctica. The influx of imported COVID-19 cases into the country by travelers, including Nigerians returning, make it absolutely necessary for the country to keep reviewing its case definition.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control is working closely with Lagos, Ogun, and Ekiti state governments to carry out contact tracing. I emphasize that the contact tracing is an extremely important but also arduous task, and I urge all state, local government, law enforcement authorities, and community leaders to give full cooperation to investigators.
The minister emphasized the need for states to urgently scale up investments at subnational level, especially in contact tracing and standard emergency isolation centers. In Abuja, Rabi Abdullah, NTA News.
More reports on coronavirus. The federal government has banned all international flights to Kano, Enugu, and Port Harcourt to combat the spread of COVID-19 in the country. Secretary to the Government of the Federation and Chairman, Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa says, consequently, the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, Kano, Akanu Ibiam International Airport, Enugu, and the Port Harcourt International Airport, Omagwa, will be closed to all international flights effective from midnight of Saturday, 21st March 2020. However, the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, and the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, will remain open to accept international flights irrespective of the type of operations. All stakeholders are enjoined to collaborate with Port Health Services in the identification of suspected COVID-19 cases and to bring such persons to the attention of Port Health officers for appropriate action. Meanwhile, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 urges all Nigerians to remain calm and cooperate with the instructions already issued by the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs and the Christian Association of Nigeria on modes of worship and gatherings, at this time not exceeding 50 persons. In another development, following the ban of international flights to Kano, Enugu, and Port Harcourt towards combating the spread of COVID-19 in the country, Minister of Aviation Hadi Siruka says there's every likelihood that all international airports in the country will be closed to incoming flights for the same reason. Speaking to newsmen at the presidential villa in Abuja, the minister says sooner than later the federal government would consider this option.
This is my individual perspective. At some point, this airport must be closed. And this is my opinion. But like I said, there is a presidential task force on COVID-19, to which I am a member. But certainly and definitely, at some point, these airports, all of them, Nigeria will be closed. And I think it's the safest thing to do because these things, they multiply exponentially. But for a better brief, I think we have the forum, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. They will come out with a statement. But I can guarantee you that not sooner than later, they will be closed.
When are you going to happen?
Well, we will close down these airports and we would issue the necessary notices to airmen as at what time they will be closed. And I think it will be very soon. It's better safe than sorry. And I think, in my opinion, and this is my personal opinion, is that if you want to catch a fish, empty the water.
Minister of Aviation there, Hadi Sirika, speaking on the ban of international flights. Moving on to other stories, the House of Representatives says the suspension of the strike action by resident doctors in the FCT following intervention of House leadership is a welcome development at this period of global health challenge. At a meeting with the House Committee on Healthcare Services, the Nigerian Medical Association reiterated the readiness of members to work with governments to ensure stability in the provision of health services to those in need, considering the coronavirus pandemic.
Doctors all over this country are also part and parcel of this struggle to ensure that we treat all patients that may come down with the COVID-19, as well as any other illnesses affecting Nigerians generally.
To call on the FCTA to please look at a way of complementing those that are working for the past 5 months without pay. I believe the FCTA can find a means of sourcing money as rightly suggested by the NMA President.
The Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, early this week met with representatives of FCT resident doctors and appealed for the call off of the strike. Now, environmental health officers in Nigeria are building collaborations to sustain and improve surveillance of high-risk areas in the country as part of measures to contain the spread of COVID-19. Onengie Fineface reports that the officers are requesting for increased manpower to effectively carry out this mandate.
COVID-19 infection rate in Nigeria remains relatively low due to containment procedures initiated by the federal government. Central to that procedure is the isolation and management of the index and other cases. Environmental health officers are mobilizing available manpower to support the containment of the pandemic.
All the organs of environmental health in Nigeria are coming together so that we can build and develop a roadmap where we can be able to address these challenges of the pandemic that is facing the global public health concern.
We have 7,000 officers serving the tumultuous over 200 million Nigerians. And this is a far cry from what the WHO, World Health Organization recommended ratio is, which is one environmental health officer taking care of 8,000 of the population.
Right now we need a lot of few environmental health officers.
The Federal Ministry of Environment already has plans to optimize the services of environmental health officers to prevent COVID-19 spread and promote healthy lifestyle, especially by improving sanitary conditions of communities and cities in the country. In Abuja, Onengie Fineface, NTA News.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
Thank you for joining us again. Spain becomes the fourth country to register more than 1,000 deaths after China, Italy and Iran. Uche Ugochukwu brings us more updates on the COVID-19 around the world.
Welcome to Friday's updates on the coronavirus pandemic. Spain's worst single-day death toll yet brought the country's total fatalities above 1,000. Nearly 20,000 people have been infected, while 1,558 people recovered. Reports say the number of people infected in Italy due to the virus, whose vaccine is still unavailable, stands at 41,035. Globally, coronavirus pandemic has taken 10,048 lives and 245,912 people are infected. There are about 250,000 confirmed cases, out of which more than 80,000 recovered. Hong Kong recorded 48 new cases of the virus, its biggest jump daily. Elsewhere, Germany saw another 11 deaths in the past 24 hours. Meanwhile, China again reports no new domestic cases. More countries continue to lock down as a way of curtailing the spread of the virus. Argentina imposed a nationwide lockdown. Australia's ban for all non-residents to enter the country has just come into effect. All private workplaces in Mumbai have been ordered to close until 31st March. Malaysia's army has been drafted in to help the police enforce a nationwide lockdown as the country battles Southeast Asia's largest outbreak. California has issued a stay-at-home order to residents as it tries to stem the spread of the coronavirus. Saudi Arabia, where 238 people have tested positive, has placed restrictions on worships at Mecca's Grand Mosque and the Prophet's Mosque in Medina. And in Africa, just 20 deaths and 600 cases have been confirmed across the continent, but the virus is still spreading. That's our package. I am Uche Ugochukwu.
And now to other issues. The governing All Progressives Congress has expressed a formal appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari for the bold steps taken so far towards safeguarding national health security, as well as approving some palliative measures to Nigerians in response to the impact of COVID-19 on the economy. National Chairman of the party, Adams Oshiomhole, stated this while briefing newsmen after an audience with the President for the first time since the last meeting of the party's National Working Committee in Abuja.
Challenging times, and our President is showing leadership just as we expect of him, putting Nigeria first, supporting businesses, and passing on not just the burden of drop in oil price, but the benefit of that drop. And for me, having been active in this politics of oil pricing, this is the first time a Nigerian president, without strike, without protest, without editorials, without commentators saying it, by his own conviction, he says this drop in the price of crude must be reflected in a drop in the price of PMS. And for us, as party leaders, we think he deserves commendation. I also appreciate the prompt proactive step taken by the CBN by making funds available to support businesses that are affected by coronavirus. And everywhere around the world, governments are rising to the occasion, and we are happy that Nigeria, under President Muhammadu Buhari, has also taken bold steps to protect Nigeria by stopping foreign airlines from flying into the country, particularly from countries that the virus has become already a pandemic.
State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports that Mr. Oshiomhole was asked the Villa to formally introduce former Oyo State Governor Abiola Ajimobi to the President as the new Deputy National Chairman South of the APC. Still from the State House, President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed a formal appreciation of the federal government to the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria in its efforts at reducing the Hajj fare by up to 15%. Receiving the newly appointed chairman and members of the commission, the president described the reduction as a timely response to the impacts of the recent events in global economy. State House correspondent Adam Sambo has the report.
Officials of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria were in the State House to show appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari for the confidence reposed in them to provide efficient and effective services to the nation's pilgrims in Saudi Arabia. The chairman of the commission, Zikrullah Kunle Hassan, used the opportunity to brief the Nigerian leader on plans and activities for the journey of faith this year. Top on their agenda, he said, is the reduction of Hajj fare by between 10 to 15% without reducing the quality.
In order to achieve this, we visited the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and we succeeded in reducing
the cost of Meccan accommodation between 4% and 19% in 20 states. I'm happy to inform Mr. President that this act of reduction in both Meccan accommodation and the airline screening will reduce the entire cost of services to billions of naira. We still await your kind approval of the composition of the Board of Trustees of the Hajj Savings Scheme. It is when we have an Hajj Savings Scheme that the going to Hajj of poorer people can be made easier.
He also informed the president that the Saudi Arabian government has selected Nigeria as one of the few countries to benefit from the Mecca Route initiative aimed at easing immigration difficulties to pilgrims. President Muhammadu Buhari appreciated the National Hajj Commission officials for the measures being put in place towards ensuring successful Hajj exercises by the nation's pilgrims, especially the reduction in Hajj fares, which he described as a worthy initiative.
I'm pleased to hear that you are working with the Ministry of Health on protecting our citizens. As a government, this is now a key priority for us. I therefore enjoin you to ensure that adequate medical provisions and other welfare requirements are afforded to our pilgrims.
The president, however, tasked the Hajj officials to work assiduously towards guaranteeing the safety and security of Nigerian pilgrims in Saudi Arabia.
This is commendable, especially now that the recent global events have impacted our economy. Such savings will be timely and most welcome to the pilgrims as well as to Nigeria's economy. However, as you assess and review these costs, you must ensure that quality service and comfort is provided for our pilgrims. This is the core mandate of the Commission and must remain your primary goal.
Addressing newsmen later, the chairman of the commission, Zikrullah Kunle Hassan, said the coronavirus pandemic notwithstanding, as people of faith, they are optimistic that the 2020 Hajj exercise will come to be, saying, however, that the commission will never be reckless. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government is rolling up a strategic campaign to improve on water, sanitation and hygiene initiative aimed at efficiency in public health. During his visit to NTA, Minister of Water Resources Suleiman Adamu stated that a strong partnership with relevant organizations is on course to achieve the goals of the campaign for safe water and hygiene.
The ministry that is coordinating all the water and hygiene related activities, we're coordinating Sustainable Development Goal 6, Goal 6.1 relates to water supply, Goal 6.2 relates to sanitation. And we feel we have a contribution to make in making Nigerians aware of the need for personal hygiene and personal sanitation so that we can collectively help to fight this threat of coronavirus.
NTA, the right place. We have over 118 transmitters strategically located in all parts of Nigeria. And in addition to that, all other Nigerians outside Nigeria will be able to pick all these discussions you are talking about, the importance of water, the relevance, the negative effects of climate change with their phones anywhere they are in any part of the whole world.
Yes, World Water Day is celebrated with the theme Water and Climate Change to deliberately analyze global challenges in the provision of clean water to the people. The event is coming at a time Nigeria and the global community are putting measures to sweep the coronavirus pandemic, and that is why the campaign includes public sensitization and preventive steps against the spread of the disease. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed his heartfelt condolence to Senator Ben Murray Bruce over the loss of his wife of 41 years, Evelyn A statement by Garba Shehu, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, says President Buhari praised God to comfort the senator who represented Bayelsa East in the 8th Assembly, the children left behind by the deceased and the entire family. He urged them to take solace in the quality of life lived by departed and beseech God to soothe their pains and grant succor to all those who mourn the deceased. Time now for sports news. Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development on